Hello and welcome back to Diary.io. We are going to be talking about SFTP and SCP in this video. Many times as administrators, we're faced with the challenge to transfer files or to upload folders to some remote server for whatever reason it may be. It could be to manage a web server and the web server requires some files to serve the customers, or it could be just an FTP server that stores files and directories for further processing by some application. Whatever use case it is. Because in Linux, it's not like Windows, we don't have a GUI that we can click, right click, upload an attachment or drag and drop things around. Everything we do is on the terminal, and given that, there has to be a way that we can securely transfer files or upload folders to remote servers in a secure and convenient way. And that's where SFTP comes to help, or SCP. They pretty much do the same thing. Their approach is just different. So let's get to it. We'll start off with SFTP. Assuming that I'm a DevOps engineer working for a company called ProperticsHomes.com, and by the way, Propertics Homes is a real estate company that is highly driven by tech in Africa. You can check it out. So our remote server here is Propertics Homes web server, and this client needs to send a bunch of files to the remote server. Now let's have a look at what the files are. First off, let's see what we have going on. So there's a folder here called ProperticsHomes.com, and if I did tree on ProperticsHomes.com, you can see that all we have is just one directory, and within that images directory we have a bunch of JPEG files, each of them representing some areas in Lagos. Now the question is, how do we get the entire folder that contains all of these files onto this server? SFTP comes to our rescue, which means Secure File Transfer Protocol. Internally, it uses SSH, which means with our asymmetric cipher encryption, we're able to use our keypad to connect remotely, create a secure channel between the client and remote server for encrypted communication. Now, the destination we want to go on the remote server is going to be our var www HTML folder. It doesn't exist already, so let's create that. var www HTML, and that is currently empty. It has nothing in there. To move this folder onto the remote server, we are just going to call the SFTP program, and let's get the IP address for this server. Previously I would use the ifconfig, and here's another command you can use, hostname-i, that can give us the IP address. And by the way, I don't necessarily need to say direct@ IP address. I could just specify the IP address and hit enter. And just to show you that that would also work if I had put the direct@, you can see we're still connected. Now the major difference between SFTP and SCP is that with SFTP, it's like logging in to the remote server and run Linux command as you would if you were connected through normal SSH. So I could say ls and still be able to list directories. I could do pwd, remote working directory, home directory, but not all the commands would work because it's SFTP. It's not the regular shell connectivity for running commands, right? It's just to transfer files. Let's see if the hostname command would actually work. You see, that didn't work. Let's see if ifconfig will work. No. So this demonstrates that it's not every command that would work with it, just standard commands to navigate around. Alright, so what do we want to do? We want to get the directory from the client onto var www.html that we created. To put the Propertics Homes directory into var www.html, what we need to do is to run the command put. And because it's a directory with subdirectory and files, we need to do it recursively and then specify the name of the directory. Oh no, it's .com. And we're running into an error. Why? That's because uploading directories, SFTP expects the name of the directory to also exist at the destination. So what we'll do is to create the directory in var www.html propertieshomes.com. But this time around we have a different error, which is permission denied. So we go back and fix that and say change owner. Let's make it Dare, which is user and group. And if we try one more time, sure enough, we have everything uploaded. If we do an ls here, you can see now we have all the images uploaded with all the files within. So try this on your own. You can upload folders, you can upload files, and if it was just a file, we don't need to use the recursive flag, which is -r. Now how about if we wanted to download? Let's say that let's cd here, and to quickly teach you one thing, if I wanted to, because right now we are into var www.html propertieshomes.com/images. If I wanted to go back one step, what I need to do is to do cd ... and that will take me one step backward. See that? Now let's do an ls here. Let me clear the screen so it's more readable to you, and let's just do one ls. So we have images. What I like to do is rename these images to something else. Let's say to be downloaded. I've just renamed it ls to be downloaded. Now what I want to do is to download this folder to the client. You know, we're still connected to remote here, and we are inside var www.html. If I do ls, we have that. If I did ls on that, you can see we have to be downloaded. So we're definitely inside the remote. So how do we download this? Well, as we have used put previously, now we're going to use get. So get -r properties home to be downloaded. And what we have, it says retrieving to be downloaded. Let's exit. We're back in our client, and let's see what we have. As you can see, we have successfully downloaded this, and everything happened in a very secure manner. So that is SFTP. Now how about SCP? Now the only difference between SFTP and SCP is the fact that we can't run interactive commands in another shell. We're just going to say SCP. Let's say what do we want to send? We want to send, actually let's rename this. Let's rename to be downloaded to SCP upload. So that's the name of our new file, right? So we want to send SCP upload. Let's send it to the temp directory. Let's cd to temp, and now we're in temp. Let's get the IP address again, and now I can just say SCP IP address, and similarly we can also say direct at. Now this is where it becomes different. Rather than just connect like that, I would, and don't forget what we're trying to upload, and again it's a folder, so don't forget to use the recursive. So we're uploading that, and I'll go to the end of the IP address, and this is where it's all different from SFTP. I'll put a colon and then specify where on the remote server I want this folder to be uploaded. As you can see, we have that. If I do temp, now we have everything. Now what if we want to download? Well, that's easy as well. Now let's first of all rename these SCP upload to SCP download, just to give us that clarity that we're trying to download this file now. Oops. SCP download. So that's what we have now, right? It's still the same set of files in there. So let's clear the screen on the client, do an ls. So we don't have SCP download here right now. Now to download that folder, what we will do is remove this, because at this point we were uploading it, right? So what we'll do this time around is get into the remote host and specify the folder that we're trying to download. And let me enlarge this so you can have a look at what's going on properly. Alright, SCP download, and where do we want this to be downloaded? So you can either specify the absolute or relative path. What do I mean by absolute or relative path? Let me quickly show you that. I'll just put the hash sign here just to show that don't run the command, just save it. Okay, just hang on in there, we're coming back to you. So this is an absolute path. So home, diary, desktop, it's absolute, everything. And if I wanted to do an ls on an absolute path, I could just say ls and do that. We get the thing back, right? But how about if I wanted to do an ls on the relative path? Now the relative path is the fact that I am inside home, diary, desktop already. Okay, so the relative path for properties homes, I don't have to say this. I don't have to specify the whole absolute path to list what's in this folder. If I do, it's gonna work, but why do I want to do that? Because I'm already in here. So what I would rather do is just specify the relative path, which is just propertieshomes.com. Okay, so that's the difference between absolute and relative path. So absolute, the whole path, and relative. Okay, all right, so back to our SCP command. So I'm going to remove the hash symbol there, and now I can just specify the relative path, which is my current directory, and that can be represented with a dot. So let's go through this. SCP recursive, because it's a folder. If it wasn't a folder, if it was just a file, we don't need recursive. And connects us direct to this server, and when you get to this server, go into temp, get this folder and download it locally. I can either specify an absolute path, which is the full path to where I want it to go, or the relative path. And let's see if this is going to work. And of course it did. Let's take a look. Now we have SCP download. So we have successfully downloaded from the remote server. So this is essentially how download and upload, works. You can either use SCP or SFTP. With SFTP, you can do that with get and put and still have the interactive shell. With SCP, you do not have that. You can just either download or upload. You cannot do anything interactively like we do in SFTP. Now you go ahead and do some practice. If you have any concerns, don't forget to put a comment in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe, like the video, and share with your friends. I hope this has been very informative for you, and I hope to see you in the next video.